What if I told you someone built an entire airport inside the ocean itself? Not on the shore, not near the water, literally floating on the Pacific Ocean. This is Kansai International Airport, the wildest engineering bet ever made. Here's the crazy part. It was already sinking and they built it anyway. Wait until you hear how Japan turned a sinking disaster into pure genius. By the 1960s, Osaka was Japan's industrial heart, bursting at every seam. Itami Airport sat surrounded by millions of homes. Noise complaints were catastrophic. Communities sued, politicians panicked, and flights got banned after 11 p.m. nightly. Then someone said the most insane thing: let's just build it in the ocean instead. Engineer Yoshio Yoshida and architect Renzo Piano took on the impossible challenge. Now you might be thinking, the ocean floor there is basically wet clay and mud. The site was 5 kilometers offshore in 18 meters of water, incredibly soft seabed. In 1987, after years of debate, Japan said enough. They officially broke ground. This is where it gets interesting. 10,000 workers would attack the sea itself.
I'm literally standing where the airport runway will be. There's nothing here yet.
Phase 1. Build a seawall to protect the future island from typhoon force waves. Engineers designed giant concrete caissons, hollow boxes that would form the outer wall. Each caisson weighed 80 tons, and they needed over 1,000 of these sections total. Getting them perfectly aligned on that soft, muddy seabed was an absolute nightmare mission. Section by section, the seawall grew, a concrete necklace around an empty ocean space. Every joint had to be sealed perfectly. One crack, and the whole island could flood. After 2 years, the seawall was done. They had created a bathtub in the Pacific Ocean. Now comes the truly insane part. They had to fill this bathtub with solid ground. 3 entire mountains in Japan were partially demolished to source the fill material needed. Some people will ask in the comments, where did all that material actually come from? Mountains near Kobe, Wakayama, and Hyogo. Entire hillsides sacrificed for the island. At peak, one barge was unloading material into the bay every single 15 minutes. Layer by layer, the island grew. Rock, then gravel, then sand, then compacted clay fill. They needed the surface perfectly level. 1 centimeter off, and runways would be useless. Then the nightmare hit. The island was sinking far faster than anyone had predicted. The sheer weight of the landfill was squeezing water out of the deep clay layers beneath. Engineers predicted 8 meters of settling. The island was already past that, with more coming. Here's the crazy part. The settlement was still happening and wouldn't stop for decades. The island would ultimately sink over 11 meters, twice the original worst-case prediction. Renzo Piano now faced designing a building that would continuously change its own elevation. The genius solution? Build every single column with adjustable hydraulic jacking capability. Workers could literally jack up individual columns to keep the floor perfectly flat always. Different parts of the island settled at different rates. The building just kept adjusting. They piled on extra fill, essentially overfilling the island to account for future sinking. Wait until you hear this. This approach would become the global standard for soft ground projects. Crisis managed, not by stopping the sinking, but by designing the whole airport to sink gracefully. With the sinking problem solved, construction of the actual airport surface could begin. The surface had to be compacted to aircraft-grade density, every inch tested and verified. A city-sized drainage network went in first. Typhoon rain can flood an island in hours. 1 runway, 3,500 meters long, had to be laser straight on a surface that was still moving. Every runway layer, subbase, base course, asphalt binder and surface, laid in strict sequence. Paving a runway on an artificial island in the ocean, something never done before in history.
I'm kneeling on a runway that's floating above ocean clay. This is genuinely incredible engineering.
Now here is the next massive challenge. How do you actually get to the island airport? The answer: Skygate Bridge. 3,750 meters of road and rail stacked on top of each other. Over 200 concrete bridge piles had to be driven into that same soft bay seabed. Each bridge column is a marine construction masterpiece, built to resist tidal forces daily. Bridge deck sections were prefabricated on shore, then floated out on barges for installation. Each section weighed 200 tons and had to land perfectly, or the whole span would be off. Both ends of the bridge were built simultaneously, racing to meet in the middle of the bay. Here's the crazy part. The two halves had to align to within just millimeters at the center. When those final welds were made, Japan had built its first double-deck ocean bridge connection. Test vehicles crossed the bridge first, engineers monitoring every vibration, every flex point. Road above, rail below, dual transportation to a floating airport island, built for the ages. Now the crown jewel, Renzo Piano's terminal, the longest building on Earth when it opened. The curved roof wasn't just beautiful, it was scientifically designed to deflect typhoon winds. Remember those adjustable columns? Each one has its own jack. There are over 900 of them. The structural steel for this terminal alone weighed over 70,000 tons, staggering scale. Every roof truss was custom made. Renzo Piano's curve meant 0 standardized sections existed. This is where it gets interesting. 82,000 individual stainless steel panels form that roof. Each panel had to be installed at a precise angle. Flat panels would have shattered the design. Piano designed the interior to feel like a canyon, sun moving across the space like a sundial. The glass facade used 900 specially made glass panels, each one a slightly different dimension. Underneath the beautiful design lived the reality, 200 kilometers of electrical cable alone. The baggage system alone took 18 months to install, 70 kilometers of underground conveyor belts. 42 boarding gates had to be built, each one reachable without a single staircase or elevator. The control tower stands 66 meters tall. It has to see every corner of that long single runway. Over 10,000 runway lights were installed, each one tested individually before night operations. An underground fuel farm with 24 million litre capacity was buried beneath the aircraft apron. Instrument landing systems were calibrated to guide aircraft through Japan's notorious sea fog. Runway markings had to be perfect. Pilots see these as critical guidance from thousands of feet up. The apron could handle 41 international and 14 domestic aircraft simultaneously at full capacity. Japan gets battered by typhoons every year, and this island has nowhere to hide from them. Engineers spent years in wind tunnels testing the terminal against Category 5 typhoon force winds. The curved roof acts like an aircraft wing. Wind flows over it instead of slamming straight into it. The seawall was raised and reinforced after wave models showed underperformance in extreme storms. The terminal has over 1,000 expansion joints. It flexes like a living structure in high winds. In 2018, Typhoon Jebi, the worst in 25 years, directly hit Kansai Airport with terrifying force. A tanker ship broke free and slammed directly into Skygate Bridge, cutting off the island completely. 3,000 people were stranded on the island, evacuated by boat and helicopter over 2 days. Here's the incredible part. The terminal itself survived completely intact, exactly as Piano designed. After Jebi, they upgraded the seawall again, because every disaster teaches engineers something new.
Even after the worst typhoon in decades, this building didn't move 1 inch. Incredible design.
Traffic exploded so fast that Japan built a second island. Island 2 began construction in 1999. Engineers used everything learned from Island 1. Island 2 was built faster and more precisely. Terminal 2 was designed for budget airlines, simple, fast, and brutally efficient for passengers. A second runway meant Kansai could handle takeoffs and landings completely simultaneously. An elevated taxiway bridge connects the two islands. Aircraft literally taxi from island to island. The whole reason for building in the ocean? No noise limits. Kansai runs 24 hours a day, always. The overnight cargo operation is massive. Billions of dollars of freight move through every night. Every terminal system was tested live with mock passengers before a single real traveler entered. 2 islands, 2 terminals, 2 runways, 1 bridge, all built where there was only ocean before. September 4th, 1994. After 7 years of construction, Kansai International Airport opened its doors. The very first flight to land was a Japan Airlines 747 from Tokyo. The crowd went absolutely wild. Passengers entered a terminal unlike anything in aviation. The canyon-ceiling interior was breathtaking. Airlines from 40 countries scheduled flights to Kansai within the first year of operations. From the air at night, Kansai looks like a glowing spacecraft landed in the middle of the sea. A control room monitors every settlement sensor. The island's health is checked every single hour. Every few months, workers jack up columns that have settled. The building self-corrects like clockwork. Walking the full terminal is a 15-minute journey. It is genuinely the length of many city streets. From empty ocean to the world's most complex airport, completed in just 7 revolutionary years.
Nature gives us limits, engineering gives us runways. Hit subscribe, we're just getting started.